Hi, Jason Knott with CE Pro, and I'm excited to be joined today by Joe DeJesus, Product Manager, Custom Installation for Lenbrook. Hi, Joe.
How are you doing?
Thanks for joining me today. We're talking about multi-room audio today, and specifically the BluOS platform. Tell us a little bit about when that was first released and how it's evolved over the years.
Well, I think the genesis for it was about 10 years ago. At Lenbrook, the NAD side of the house, obviously we had sources for quite a long time, but we obviously saw that streaming was a content that we wanted to incorporate within our product line. And we started looking around the existing platforms, and let's face it, 10 years ago, it was a radically different situation. And seeing what the trends that were happening, and obviously, well before even 10 years ago, we were looking at a shift into just convenience, having access to content very quickly, and being able to organize it in a fashion that was like easily digestible for the customer. But what was being traded off at the time was frankly quality, the refinement of the signal, the content that would actually have a certain level of detail to really keep up with where we believed our roots were, which is to give the very best at a certain dollar value. And we just wanted to look at the situation. And one of the gentlemen at NAD basically said, look, we've seen what's out there. We can do this internally, and maybe we can do it without the compromise. Maybe we can have the convenience and still introduce the quality, the resolution, for lack of a better word.
Based on feedback from integrators, what are some of the key features of BluOS that integrators really, really like?
Well, it's really like, I think we're getting more and more positive feedback from our people are paying attention, and they've seen us grow. They've seen us modify our user interface. They're now asking the kind of questions or the wants that would come from, let's say, a fan of it, of the process, and looking for the feature sets. They were very, very happy that we introduced DIRAC into a lot of our product. They were fairly excited to see that we were fairly early adopters of AirPlay 2 into our product line, which was something that was introduced, a couple of years ago. So the feature set, the amount of content, the fact that it is high resolution, the way we've been able to create a good user interface, some of the partnerships that we've been able to create with the automation companies that they presently deal with. We have a fantastic driver for example, Control 4, that we've we really pushed forth, and everybody's saying that it just feels native. It feels easy to use, and from the installation side, that's all I could ask for. But we're not done. I mean, it's a living, breathing thing. Feature sets, formats, that's constantly changing, and at least they know that they can come to us. The system designer is probably the one that is the bigger part of the fan club, because within the whole ecosystem of BluOS, he has so many tools to choose from in order to create system design.
You've used in the term, some of the conversations we've had before, you've used the term BluOS ecosystem. What exactly does that mean? And especially, what does it mean to the CI channel?
Well, the ecosystem basically is the product that, in essence, has BluOS as part of its feature set, has that operating system for streaming. And because the idea initially started off with the NAD part, when BluOS was created, we created the first manifestation of it, which was BlueSound. And BlueSound gave a good little assortment of products of, let's say, a very basic streamer to a streamer amplifier, soundbar, a series of products that was more consumer oriented and certainly based on a DIY format, or somebody who had an existing system and just wanted to add a streamer to get content. But being able to introduce BluOS, whether it be native in the product or through use of an MDC card, which I'll get to later, you now have NAD product that if you're a traditionalist and let's say you want a really good amplifier at the X dollar value level, because that's the kind of listener that you are, that's the kind of tier that you're looking for. Well, we can incorporate BluOS into it. So now he's accessing content. And within NAD, you've got good, better, and best of relatively entry-level amplification for us that would have BluOS, and right up to a master's level, which is at the very highest audiophile level. So you're not just using the operating system to do the streaming, the component quality has gotten so much better. So a system designer can come up with a $1,000 answer. He can come up with a $5,000 answer for a customer, depending on what that person's looking for. The latest iteration is actually a division that started within Lenbrook, which is called BlueSound Pro. We've even given the opportunity, because of the NAD platform, having something called MDC, or modular design construction. You can have an amplifier that was several years old, and you have this little plate on the back where you can insert a card, very much the way you would on an old-fashioned computer when people still cracked them open and did things to them. You can insert an MDC card and introduce BluOS to an integrated amplifier that you fell in love with years ago. You don't really want to change it, but you want to access some new content. You pop in one of those MDC cards and you have the ability to upgrade your product. That's a tremendous amount of flexibility for a system designer. When you leave Lenbrook, when you leave the portfolio of NAD and well, PSB and BlueSound, the CI division, the commercial division, we have some third-party people that saw that there was something to be had by being able to have access to high resolution content. They too wanted to be able to show off the caliber of their product. They wanted to have the litmus test. So Dolly loudspeakers, they were the first ones to come on board with us. They're now in their second generation of product that introduced BluOS. And as far as they're concerned, they're now introducing content that really does test the metal, or is able to demonstrate the good, better, and best, the level of refinement that they can bring to the table. Monitor Audio came on board in the past year. They now have a streamer. They've seen that they can now show off the very best of Monitor Audio by having the most stringent source material plumb through their amplification to their speakers and so on and so forth. So, and those are just the first two out of the gate. There are several other in the works right now that that are coming on board.
Talking about this high resolution, does it just hand in hand, now that we've got the content, now that we've got the hardware, does it really lead the integrator into a good, better, best sales solution?
I think once he sees everything that's at hand, it's fairly evident. Not only can he establish a good, better, best, but again, with a lot of the product, like the product that has MDC slots in the back of it, it allows him to future-proof and give him a little bit of comfort that he can introduce something to the customer after the sale. What I would say first, and it's the most important thing, test drive the user interface. Once you see how it works, and that it's a very, very easy lift to get your head wrapped around, the amount of content that you have access to, do the real world tests that you certainly would if you were putting a system in somebody's home, like we were talking about, the low volume listening, and then look at all the product that you have and all the little pigeonholes that we're able to cover off, from an entry-level residential job to a full-fledged large-scale commercial job. We have the answer, and that portfolio is just going to keep growing.
Well, the engineering that Lenbrook has shown has been phenomenal for the BluOS ecosystem, and I commend you guys on that. So Joe DeJesus, Product Manager, Custom Installation at Lenbrook, thanks for joining CE Pro today.
Thank you for having me.